Welcome, our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for joining us here. I am Afonso Zeyenso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome you. We say happy Wednesday. Good to have you here this evening. As usual, we are here to discuss community issues and, of course, an uncomfortable one that you would not even like to talk about, but it's part of our job to have these critical conversation as well. Hopefully, my guests will be joining me here. This is the Wednesday editions of All Things Considered right here, coming to you from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio in the first segment, and then in the last segment, the analysts want to be here to scramble a lot of things happening right before our very eyes, far from us in our society. This is the first time we say you are wholeheartedly welcome under the roof of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Thank you for sharing this beautiful event with us. In our quest to hear from current and former leaders, political leaders, prominent opinion leaders, we are making this run to get their side to see their past and their retirement time from government. And so here this event, the former Minister of Gender for Social Protection to the Republic of Liberia, Minister Julius Duncan Cassette, hopefully will be joining me here shortly, and we're going to be having a conversation on a wide range of issues, and of course, wide range of issues making headlines. And we intend to keep this drive going to talk to all sides during the tenure and after the tenure, the out of government life, what it means, and stuff like that. We're going to be having this conversation, not necessarily to entertain you, but to give you a sense of what is happening, what you need to know. And so we tell you what you really need to know, not what you want to hear. That's the difference, that's the distinctions of this network and that of others. We do not have control over those, but we do have control on what we do here in terms of making news fair, balanced, and proportional. On this note, stay tight, hold tight. Today is Wednesday, midweek, beautiful weather here. Somehow a little bit dicey here in the East Coast. I'm not sure you're in where you are, but the bottom line, this is America. We say we wanted to come in the cold, and so we are here in the cold. Expect the unexpected. I am Afonso Zeyenso. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
Hey you, it's time to pack your bags. The world is calling. From the skies above to every corner of the map, explore all 7 continents with journeys designed especially for Europe and Africa. Whether it's a cruise, an all-inclusive resort, a hotel, car rental, theme park getaway, or the perfect excursion, Ayana's Dream Escapes brings the world within reach. Adventures start here. Don't just dream, escape. Book now, visit our site, scan the QR code, or just call today.
Okay, there's Ayana's Dream. It's a Liberian-owned business, and so we want to encourage you, if you want to make this trip, you want to go far, you want to go visit, whatever you want to go to, say it, you can also make those reservations. If you have a business here in the USA and that of in Liberia, you are at liberty. That's how we get assistance. We just don't want to beg. You know, whatever we do, we want to provide a service and you pay for the service. So it's a barter system. We give, use something in terms you give us cash. That's what we need. Or even it could be a goodwill donations, any material, phone, laptop, something that is usable, microphone to digital cameras, whatever. As long as is in good condition, uh, you want to give something that people will use, not something that people are going to resuscitate or to take to technicians again to spend extra. So uh, whatever you want to do, just let us know it and we will be at your service. The music you just listened to is a new piece by to one of the Liberia pioneers. It's a traditional singer, ambassador to Gideon Boy. That's a new song they released, and we're going to be playing that. By the way, we're going to be managing here the first. He's in Liberia, but most of the time, especially those from in the Grange community, because he's a traditional singer. He's always been used to do some memorial, graduation, milestone, wedding, whatever event you think about. Very good guy, very creative, very talented. His message, his song contains message, and then that's what I love. So that's it. If you are here and you know you want to get hold of him to get something done for you, all you need to do is just to reach out. And trust me, we're going to come up with the terms and conditions and make it work so that way you can get the service that you need and pay us the money that we should get as well. We can't keep doing things that old traditional way. We got to change things. We got to do things differently, to put it into perspective, make it black and white, formalize the agreement. So whatever you pay for, you get it as well, and that's what we intend to do. Well, today is the birthday of one of the funniest. She is the former president of the Republic of Liberia, a Nobel laureate, two-term president, activist. Some call her Maradona, politics of political Maradona. Some call her guru. Some call her Iron Lady, Helen Johnson Sirleaf. Today celebrates her birthday. We say on behalf of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio, we say happy birthday to the former president of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Helen Johnson Sirleaf, for her leadership. We agree and disagree with some policy, but virtue of the fact that she served our country, we must also applaud. So we say happy birthday to the former president. Our understanding she's currently in France on a major mission. I hope so at some point in time, one of these days, I will have access to her. We're still working on that. Nothing is impossible to have her here. But let me see here if we can see to have the minister here so that we can get this call going here. But let me take a quick commercial break again, and I will be right back as we get this conversation going. Stay tuned. I'm a Francis and so do us a favor, just hit the share icons and just hit the share button. It's at no cost. It's not going to harm your credit. It's not going to bring down your credit score. It's nothing you're going to do for you. What it does, it's going to benefit you because you invite someone at your company. I will be right back.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events, such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916 533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services, and your friends in business.
Let's take you to Grand Bassa County this evening, since in 5 we're going to be having the Iron Lady from Grand Bassa as well. Let's take her home, even though she's currently in the U.S. Let's take a trip to Bazon this evening. That's a good evening. Good to have you. Breakable, Mr. Gray. Good to have you here. Brown Fatu is in the house. Alexander Duby. If you are from Grand Bassa, let's have a, and we say happy birthday to President Helen Johnson Sally. Just Bevervelt will be here very shortly doing some technical work here. Let's take a ride this evening as we are about to speak with the daughter of Grand Bassa County, a one-time Minister of Gender and Social Protection, former superintendent. As she retire, she will review her retirement age to go back in government, what she make of her service, and what we need to know then and now. This is Julia Duncan Cassell. Will be right here very shortly, and we're going to have a conversation. Stay tuned. All right. Let's see here. Okay, let me bring in my guest. Let me start this music. All right. It's good to get a trip back home. She's from Buchanan. She served as the superintendent, former gender and social protection minister, Madam Julia Duncan Cassés. Yeah, let me just bring her in. Man, you really wanted to go to Baz on the evening, eh?
Good evening, Mr. Sue. You
Good
told me
evening,
where to
madam.
Grand Gita, you gotta pass the
Eh?
buck. You told
Yeah,
me where to Grand Gita, so I told you to bring me back home.
to bring you back home. And you're quite correct because there's no place like home, especially a true daughter of the county. You serve in so many roles of
No, but
that.
every county is my home. I've been to all of them so many times, so I'm familiar with all 15 counties.
All 15. So, what should I say? Mother of all 15. Okay, Madam Minister, thank you. Good to be here. We are excited. We are happy to have you here. It is good. People don't have to be in government to have a conversation with them. Even if they leave government, you want to have a conversation to their experience. And, if people not in the system, it's difficult to know. So I'm glad that you pick up time. I'm so sorry to inconvenience you this Wednesday. You should be relaxing, but yeah, we are. But that's the callings. Good to have you. Good to see you. How you doing? Looking great.
I'm doing good, and thank you, Mr. Sue, for inviting me. It's good to be on the platform. And like you said, we are still working for the people of our great country. You don't have to be in a particular position, but as a leader, you are always in a position that you can give back. And I always believe that sometimes if you don't tell your own story, somebody else will tell it for you. So whenever I have the opportunity to tell my story and my ambition for my country, I take advantage of that.
All right. And here we are tonight, and I'm glad that's advantage here. And I know many of you people always want to have this conversation, but because of the toxic ground that we have of people being disrespectful to leaders, whether they agree with them or do not agree with them, is part of the challenge for which is a problem. But good to have you here. I do not need an introduction from you. I would be disingenuous, but it is a tradition on this network because every day people pass through and they go. So we want the people to get a substance who to talk to. Maybe they have heard thy name and they have their own way of thinking. So it would be unjust if I don't give you the opportunity to just, in a few seconds, to introduce yourself. I will just get right down to the business. How's that?
No problem, Mr. Shaw. Thank you. And thank you for the work. Thank you for the continuation of informing our people in and around our country, our continent as to what is happening as we move along. My name is Julia Duncan Kessel, commonly known as Ma Mapu or Pinky, Auntie Pinky. I will start from the latest and go backwards. I serve as Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Prior to that, the ministry was then Ministry of Gender and Development. But under our administration, we're able to transform the ministry and we brought in the social protection part. So it became the Ministry of Gender Social Protection. Prior to that, we served as Superintendent of Grand Bassa County. And before that, we served as Controller and Head of Special Project at the Executive Mansion when Madam Sally first took over before we moved over to becoming Superintendent. Notwithstanding, we left our home in 1981 after the coup, and we migrated to the United States on a student visa. We stayed there, we worked there, we did banking and finance, public relations, human services, but we also served as president of the Liberian community of Northern California for 8 years, 2 terms. And we're during the crisis where we're able to bring our community together and help our brothers and sisters, our mothers who are coming, and how we could help them settle in. But notwithstanding, I was the board chair of Wangoso, the largest women NGO secretariat. I have my own NGO called Mapu's House. We formed the Girls of Destiny. I'm a founding member of the Federation of Liberian Youth, way back when Daniel Draper then came to Liberia and established it. So I've always been in the leadership position. I am a member of the board trustee of the Episcopal Diocese of Liberia. I am what we call the senior warden of the Episcopal Church of St. John's, Lower Buchanan. So besides politics, I'm involved in social services. I'm involved in the church. I'm involved in the community. So I am who I am, and I leave the rest. But
Oh
like
my
I
goodness.
said, sometimes you have to let people know from where you came and how we got to where we are, and we will continue to do as long as we have left and breath to serve our people in different capacity. We will do that.
My goodness. You already won the interview. I would say thank you for all what you did for your country, for the world, for society, for community, for your region, and for your people. We might agree, disagree, but these are all sacrifices, and it takes people of courage, conviction, to do it because everybody not going to agree with you. Wow. By the way, talking about someone, Helen Johnson Sirleaf, we want to say here, happy birthday to the president, one of Liberia's prized Nobel laureate, Madam Helen Johnson Sirleaf. I like to see this suit on her, especially, I don't know who was how to call those people that who really used to put those things together, but because when she put it on, man, it can look good. And the first woman president of the continent, we say it, happy birthday to her. Okay, Madam
Mr.
Captain.
So let me join you to say happy
Mhm.
birthday to Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I know you already said all that she is, but she's a Scorpion. And
Hmm.
her favorite song was done by a lady from California, Edinburgh. I'm a woman, watch me grow, in numbers to be strong. You know, she stood among men and she stood for what she stood for. And she said, if your dreams are not big enough to scare you, they are not dreams. And she lived to that. So to see her at 87 years old and is
Wow.
still moving about, she's not the president, but we refer to her as former president. You know, she was a signing member. The United Nations just celebrated 80 years of existence,
Hmm.
of which Liberia is a signing member of that. But she worked in the UN. She was part of what we call 1325, Women, Peace, and Security. Remember, during the war, we had all male combatants, all male soldiers in our country. But when she came to power, she said to the UN, you have sent a lot of men to help to protect us. But can you look for a country that can send us some women? We need women in security. And India sent us the largest female troops that didn't just serve as security, but they were involved in the community, they were involved in society, they were in every ministry, every county. So 1325, as the United Nations celebrate these years, is because Liberia was also a signatory to that declaration that talk about women, peace, and security. You cannot be talking about peace with all women at the table. And that was her message, because it's the women who born the men. They are their husbands, their children, their sons, their fathers. They fix the water, they cook the food. So if you want to talk about peace, bring the women to the table. And that was part of her campaign that she ran, that today you have more women in the security sector. So I just wanted to put that there and wish her happy birthday and all those others who are celebrating birthday this October 29th.
Okay, and we're going to get right to our conversation here, but I do believe I could be wrong, but I know you are one of the confidants of former President Helen Johnson Sirleaf. You know her better. Maybe there are things we in the media industry we just don't know. We exaggerate, we exacerbate, we guess, and do everything here. 87, that's huge. What is it about her? Let's just have a quick conversation in a sense we jump into her. What is it about her that we don't know or ordinary people don't know that those of you guys who were really close to Helen Johnson Sirleaf to really sort of grab of her? What you think?
Let me say to you, Mr. Sue, and to all those who are listening out there, people may say that she's a stubborn person. People may think that she's cocky, but she's someone who believes in what she wants to do. She's a leader and she's not a follower. And she allow people to do their stuff and then she correct you as you go along. But I know her as a leader. I started watching Madam Salif as a student, a young woman growing up in Grand Bassa County, to be specific, Buchanan City. At the time, we had LEC, we had Water and Sewer, we had EFBC, where you used to listen to Roadway to Health. You used to listen. And so in the evening after school, we'll put the TV on, and I saw this woman standing up to then President Tolbert. And I'm like, wow, I want to be a politician. I would like to be like that woman. How she can talk to the president like that? He's a man. You know, and so with that, I like, what? We can do it. As a result of following her, I became the first female president of my high school, the oldest government high school in Grand Bassa County, Bassa High School, where great lawyers, great doctors came from that school. But I started following her from then. And I'm just seeing to say now, with everything that's happening, she wanted to be. And the first time you know, and I know you were in Liberia, when the elections took place, when she ran to be senator, she won the elections. But she was not happy with the results of the elections. And she felt that even being senator, you have to be submissive to the president or whoever you work with. And so because of that, she said, you know what, let somebody else be. I would step back. I don't want to be senator at this time. The war broke. Then she ran 1997. But before that, I had been following Madam Salif. Like I said, I was working with National Bank of Liberia. That time it was under Education Ministry. And I always wanted to be a banker. When I came to the States, I worked for City Corporation, of which Madam Salif worked with. Later became Citibank. I worked with BNP, Banque Nationale de Paris, of which Madam Salif worked with. I mean, the only thing I didn't do was to work for the United Nations because I was just following her footsteps. I wanted to be like her because I found her as a mentor and as a mother. And every time she would say, Julia, are you sure? You better go look for something else to do. I said, no, ma'am, this is what I want to do. But she's very strong on her belief. She's somebody who takes decision and she stands by it. When there's need for correction, she will correct it as she go along. But like I said, she led by example. And she wanted all those around her that believe in her to do the same. Some may and some did not because they had their own convictions as to why they wanted to do it. And she would agree with you to disagree. And at first she would tell you no. And if she said no to you, that doesn't mean you take no as an answer. She means that you come back to her and say, okay, ma'am, even though you said no, but can I tell you why I want to do this? And you will have a discussion. But if she said no and you took it as nice, oh no, the woman, she can't listen, you leave. And most of our Liberians, so you know, we take it, but don't take her for that. Take her that she's giving you room to explain to her why you want to do this, how you want to do it, and what you hope to get from it. That is the kind of person that Madam Salif is. She really, really had her country at heart, and she wanted to do a lot. But you know and I know under some of the circumstances, there were things that, yes, could have been done right. But when you're working with others, and under such condition, after the interim government of the late Julie Bryant, when all of these parties, I think there were 23 parties that ran. At the end of the day, there were only two parties, CDC and UP. But in order to form a force, to come together, you had to merge or you had to balance yourself with other party. Winston Totman went to CDC, Action Party, came to Ellen, which was an original party. And because of that, you can't say no one party. Liberia is like the United States. You got the Democrats and the Republicans. You have other parties, but at the end of the day, Liberia is Unity Party and CDC. So until you can find a marriage, a common ground, and that's what she was looking for, to see how people with similar values a similar thing can move forward what she have started to make sure that the Liberian people still enjoy the peace that we enjoy today. There can be no development without peace.
Yeah,
I'm not sharing who she was, but she's a mother, she's a grandmother, she's a mentor, she's an educator. Yeah, she's got her own little fussy ways about her. But she, you can't, you're not Jesus Christ, so you can't be all 100%. But
right.
if you wear the good and the bad, and you get to understand who she is or who, yes, then you will know who Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is all about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward one of these days. It just been slipping here and there. One of these days to have a conversation, just to get an insight, hear from herself, and ask some of the inside, outside, then questions. I think there are a lot of untold stories. I'm looking forward to having that conversation with Her Excellency Madam Helen Johnson Sirleaf. We say happy birthday to her.
No, you will. You will. I've spoken to her. Right now, she's out of the country. So when she gets back, hopefully I'll be back. And with her and others within the office, we'll make that arrangement. She doesn't draw back when it comes to interview. Yeah. She doesn't draw back when it comes to speaking to the media because she prefers that lack of information leads to misinformation. Right. So if you don't say it for yourself, people will say it differently. So she has no problem. Once she's available, she'll be waiting and ready to speak.
And by the time, honestly, I asked her 2 times, you guys call, and so let me just put it out there. She consented for a PA, but something happened. But there will be a fullness of time. Okay, let's transition to our Wednesday evening conversation. Thank you so much. Now, so let's start off. Are you currently retired from government, or you just on a break?
I'm on a break. In life, you don't say you retire because people who retire, they go right back to working. You might leave one stage and move to the next stage. There are a lot of ways you can serve government and serve your people. Whether appointed or not appointed, I'm a busy person and I like to keep busy. So no, I'm not retired. I'm not ready to retire, but I'm still keeping myself very, very busy and active when it comes to the governance and protection for our people.
Meaning you are closely watching, monitoring, observing what is currently ongoing in your country at this point.
Definitely.
So can we jump into that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your interest now? You as a former minister, former superintendent, but my understanding you were one of those, you were one of the person that introduces William to Richard Thomas in Buchanan, the coup, you were locked up and all of that. So you've been on this journey for a while now. Is that correct, that information?
That is correct. Like I said in my opening, I'm a class of 1980. And the coup took place in 1980. But before the coup, the last three-party convention were held in Buchanan City, Grand Bassa County. Prior to the convention, the late A.B. Tolbert, I've forgotten some of the names of people, young people were going around, Reginald Goodrich, Daniel Draper. They were trying to gather young people that were interested in leadership position to be members of the three-party youth wing. And so they went from county to county and selected leaders from the various high schools, took us to E.J. Raw building. From E.J. Raw, we went to Cuttington, led by the late Abby. And we spent a week on Cuttington. And from there, at the convention in Bassa, the late Joseph Wayu at the time was the superintendent. And so after the coup, we put a group together called UJOB, United Juniors of Bassa. At the time, we had only 3 high schools.
Madam, was that a political action group?
It was a student movement. Yes, so we had 3 high schools. And at the time, all the schools in Liberia were going on strike. They were burning down the schools. They were demonstrating. And we said in Bassa that we're not going to do it. So we put this group together, Unite. We were in the junior class at the time. And I became the head of that group. And we met with the superintendent. We said that the United Juniors of Bassa have pledged to the county authority that the students of Bassa will not go on strike. And he said, oh, but the president is coming to Bassa. So I need somebody to introduce the president. And he had a nephew that was in Bassa High School that was expelled from the school. But the nephew was very smart, and he had gone across the BWR to go to school. And he wanted his nephew to be the one. And I said, no, Mr. Superintendent, we got other students in Bassa that can do that. He said, who? I said, me.
Really?
So all my friends, they laughed. So I end up introducing the late President Tolbert at the fairground at the time of the convention. Okay. And so after that, when the coup took place in Monrovia, we said it was in Monrovia, or you could hear that on BC, who own the land, Papa land, who own our land, Papa land. We said, oh, in Monrovia, not going to affect us. Let us go back to school, let's go do business as usual. And normally on Saturday, you know, Bassa people, we let church business. We go to the various churches to practice, to get ready for church on Sunday. All of a sudden, that evening while we're in church practicing, there's a place in Bassa called Church Street in Buchanan. You have the United Methodist Church, you have Thankful Baptist Church, you have St. John Episcopal Church, and you have the AME Church up the hill. And they came, they said, oh, that's what the Congo Poor Church here. They started shooting in the church. We ran under the benches. And somebody said, oh, in fact, you had a three-party youth woman in the church there, and they arrested me and get me up at Buchanan.
Nowhere to say I want to introduce again, right?
No, it was after the thing. It was after the convention.
Right.
But because the coup happened, because the result of the convention was not implemented, by the time they got back to Monrovia, we were told that everything was changed. And I think that was some of what led to the coup. I'm not sure. You know, the progressive at that time were Barcus Matthew, Boyman Famule, and Boyman Famule was the guest speaker at my graduation. When they made him Minister of Education. But I went to Upper Buchanan for a day and they let me out. But the fact of the matter, I can say I went to jail. You know, whether it was 24 hours, it was 12 hours, I went to jail fighting for the young people of Bassa. But to cut long story short, that was part of it. We introduced over at the program, and after that, they left. And right after that convention, when they went back to Monrovia, we thought things were going to happen. The coup took place. Right after the coup, one thing I must admire for President Doe, before I left school, all of the superintendents he appointed were mostly military people. Bassa, we had the late John Wakreku.
John Wakreku. Oh,
who came from Grand Chile. For what people don't know, my late father was one of those who were in the army. He was commander in BTC. He was commander in Sino. He was commander in Shuffling. Sometimes when most people see me, they say, oh, but then later my son went to school. I went to school. I said, I went to Planter School. Because every time they transfer my father, he would carry all of us and we had to change and go to school, you know. But his last position was he was commander in Shuffling. And he was coming from the Late Corner Merchant Wake that night, and he had an accident and died. So the people in that area knew me as Mapu because we lived in the barracks with them. Coming to Monrovia, you know, but every checkpoint were along the way. As you stop, they will pull your gallery car. When you say you better, they say that to people. When you say you Bassa, you say you Congo person. When you say you did, they have everything. Then they say, oh, you speak Bassa. Well, you can't speak Bassa. Now they put your side. Then the man said, no. That was so your man daughter that la Mapu. That kind of donkey daughter. Y'all let the people go. So all the other people that were in the car, they let us pass, and we passed through all the checkpoints. They had told them, I said, you know what, you owe me, you see? You ought to be laughing at me, my red hair, my red face, my knee, I put no my part. I didn't know you paid me all the money. But that was just for fun, and we're able to get across. But I can say to you, after Superintendent Joseph Bayou, John Wakreku was one of the best superintendents as an army man.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew, and he lived up to the task until I left the country and went. But that was what happened at that occasion after the last convention of Three Party, and the coup took place.
Wow.
So that's on that, yes.
Well, and that's how you got to the spotlight. At least the introduction of the president, it produces something in the end results. Okay, well, folks, I'm Afonso Z, and so we're having a conversation here with former Minister Julius Duncan Cassell, former gender minister, former superintendent of Grand Bassa County, Republic of Liberia, currently in the United States. So let's see here. And I love how you put it. Strictly no sugarcoating. You still not retired. You're still monitoring. What is of a major? What is a concern? You work in government, highest positions, Minister of Gender, Social Protections. There was a transformation and all of that. A close confidant told the former president. Let's retrospect your day and now. What do you think that was left undone that should have taken place? Be it a constitution, be it whatever you think. What do you think?
Mr. So, let me say to you and the people listening out there, taking over, when Madam Sharif took over in 2006, the challenges were so many. I was in Liberia in 1997. There was still some electricity. The phone lines were still working. People were still moving. Hotel Africa was still open. When I came back to Liberia in 2003 from Ghana, I came for the inauguration of the late Julius Bryant and saw the damage or damages that had been done, having ECOMAS and no other people in Liberia. The challenges were just too many. So where do you start from? Let me say to you, even though I was controller at the mansion, but one of the reasons why I decided to leave, because security was now well settled. Okay, everything in Liberia at the time was cash and gold. At the Ministry of Finance, you still have people, paymaster, that paying 4 or 5 counties, will go to finance, collect the people checks. The people will not even get the money or even know what they're getting until 4 or 5 months later. How do you correct that? Today, everybody working for government or whatever company, you have an account. Because of that, when Antoinette Say and other people came in, how do we correct this? Paymaster, you don't have a paymaster for one ministry. You don't have a paymaster for one county. You have one paymaster for 4 counties. And knowing the distances, knowing the bad rules, how soon will the people from River Cess, from Grand Gita get a pay? When a man said not to finance, after he collect the money, the checks, that time they were paying checks, but he couldn't carry the checks because there was no bank. But people forget about those days. Today, every employee has a bank account. And we're on Madam Sharif, where Antoinette Saye and Kafwa from planning put that process into place. Or else, up to now, we'll still be having paymaster. But that was able to cut some of them. The next thing was education. Education was very important to Madam. But the thing with education is collective. In most of our schools, besides Tottenham, all of the government high schools at the time, every county had a high school that was supported by government. During the war, I wasn't there, but most of them under UNDP were supposed to add the technical vocational school to it. Some did and some didn't. The Zedru Motolato High School, Greenfield Motolato High School, Bassa High School, those places that have a training center attached to them. How do we get these schools back? But then what happened? People use the churches. People use the relief agencies to come in and build schools instead of helping government to build up what they already have on the pool. At the time, the schools that were popular those days, besides the government school, were the Catholic schools. Government school and Catholic schools used to compete. Then came the Baptist, the Episcopal schools. You had the University of Liberia. You had Cotton University College. So there was some that were run by churches, but then every church started opening schools. And so the education level dropped because you have students teaching students.
Is there lack of regulations that were in place? For
regulations being implemented. We'll get to that. because regulations, how I know now the new minister, how it won't qualify to be school. We have people that were using the churches and were bringing weapons into the country. I'm not going to name them because some of them did now who were supporting those schools that were using the name of churches to open school and church, but they were supplying weapons. But Madam thought that education was important, and especially girls' education. Mr. Sewell, I went back to Basel. I established an organization called Girls of Destiny because I believe that our boys always believe that a girl should be silent. Yeah, they can be silent, but not, they shouldn't stop them from having education. So Girls of Destiny came from the various schools within the county that we mentor to, we tutor, we provide the necessary thing and exposure for them. We took them on field trip because normally in Liberia, when they say youth at the time, all they taught youth for boys. The girls will sit back and let the boys take all the big position. The Ministry of Youth and Sports. I remember from Fair Blair that time. Sports, yes. He and my dad were in the army together. But you talk about youth, they say, what are the boys? They're not getting. I used to play kickball. I used to play volleyball. I used to challenge the boys. So I felt if I could do it, the girls can do it too. They could do it. So our thing was to help the girls. So Madam started putting emphasis on girls' education. If you send your daughter to school, instead of somebody giving you one goat or one cow, your daughter can build your house. She can buy you a car. So let's encourage the boys to continue going to school, but let's lift the girls up. So education was important. Health was important. Security was important. If you can remember, Mr. Sewell, at that time, we're paying $65 for SIM card from Lone Star, $15 for scratch card. How many people could afford that? When we had landline before, we just used to go to telecom and make our phone call and all were down. So the priority was so many. But then when you get donors and partners, people will say, oh yes, she had a lot of donors and partners. Yes, she did. She had friends that she worked with. Nothing stopping nobody from going and making friends. When you work, you ask me if I retire. I'm not retired. You know why? Because as I was working, everywhere I went, I built a network. I worked with people. And today, I'm on a lot of international boards. I go around and speak on behalf of what is needed. But if you don't build your network when you're in that position, then nothing you can do. Once you leave the position, you sit and cross your leg. For what?
What do you think, Madam Minister, that was left undone and perhaps is a political regret? Politicians like to leave a hallmark, and there are some things obviously people want to do, and it is not possible whether you even stay 4 years or 8 years. What do you think that was left undone in your own political career as minister, as superintendent, for example?
Let me say to you, Mr. Sewell, I was talking about myself. We'll make sure that Madam, you have the chance for you to interview her, and she can tell you about some of the challenges and what left. But as superintendent of Grand Bassa, I went with so much energy, so much innovation. I could have stayed to the executive mansion, but I thought that my county deserved a lot better. I thought that Grand Bassa being the second county in the Republic of Liberia, that Grand Bassa having the second largest port, that Grand Bassa had the only railroad that was functional, needed more. And I felt that even though nothing was there, my mom's house was destroyed during the war. Coming from living abroad for so many years, staying on Monrovia, going back home, there were scary moments for me. But thank God, all meal were there. In a day, I had to travel to the district. There's no district in that county. Either I rode canoe or I rode motorbike. With the places the car couldn't go, I walk. But I wanted to make sure that I met the people, I talked to the people. I established what's called today because one of our former senator and former superintendent, the late Charles Williams. Charles Williams, you know, Bassa is the only county that never had a presidential palace built. Bassa is the only county that never had a superintendent resident built.
But you were superintendent, madam.
No, wait now, but I did. But let me tell you what happened, because all of the superintendents at that time had their personal homes, and they didn't think that was need for government to spend revenue to build those things, because most of them, if they built by government, then I'm a teen. So the fairground was built because Grand Bassa County hosted the first agriculture fair in the Republic of Liberia. And that's how Charles William and others bought 200 acres of land and built the fairground and built the Doris Sports Stadium so that they could be able to host the fair. Okay? When I got there, the only government building was there, was the administrative building. That building hosted all the line ministries. It hosted the national police. It hosted the ministerial court. It hosted the immigration. And I said, no, this can't happen. Government got land. Today, under our administration, every line ministry and agency has their own offices in our county.
In Grand Bassa?
In Grand Bassa. In the administration.
On your watch?
On my watch. On my watch, working along with the lawmakers, making sure that those things were approved. The police station, the youth center, youth and sports, post office, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education. Every line ministry have their own offices that we could at the time on our watch, because all of those were in one building. In fact, the circuit court, the second judiciary circuit court of the Republic of Liberia was in Upper Buchanan. And sorry, peace be to him, actually, Johnny Lewis was the Chief Justice at the time. And all of the people from Bassa were big lawyers. And they couldn't see the need to talk to the Chief Justice to go and renovate the courthouse in Upper Buchanan. You know what I did?
You took the lead?
The opening of court, I closed it. And I said, there's going to be no court. I locked the building because that was the ministerial court, that's the city court. If they can't go Upper Buchanan, the court will now open. The Chief Justice called. He reported me to the president.
Oh.
I called the late T.C. Gui, the president of the Bassa Bar, all the lawyers, the late Councilor Bromskin, Pega. How y'all will be at? They're facing court in Babolu, in Sano. They can't face our court. Because of that, the court was renovated. The court moved back to Upper Buchanan where it belongs. So if I had not taken that step, there was still going to be in a ministerial court in the administrative building. So those were some of the hard decisions we took to bring that county back to what it is today, which could be a lot better if other people were to follow. I established what called, because I know Bassa was a big tourist area, the Domo Festival. Because my senator at that time was Senator Finlay, Senator Innes, and we're talking about establishing the community college. I said, to establish the community college is okay, but how do we raise money so some of our teachers can go and get advanced education so that they can be able to run this college? So we established the Domo Festival. We had a tourism thing, where we had a swimming contest, bicycle contest, checker, ludo. We brought the people from all of the district. The fairground was full. We went to Edina. We showed the people the beauty of tourism.
What was the ultimate goal of that? What were you trying to do?
The ultimate goal was to bring attention that Bassa was the home of hospitality and that Bassa was ready for investors and to raise money to be able to sponsor teachers who are ready to go and to get their master's degree in education to be able to teach at the community college. Because you can't build a community college and you don't have teachers ready, prepared to take it over. And that's what we did.
Do you think your goal was achieved?
To an extent, yes. But you know, they all could not have been done in the 6 years because they all didn't get started right away. So we started the process, yes. In fact, most of them who went and got it done, then I retired them because at the time, most of our teachers were elder people. Until the young people start getting involved, start getting serious and wanting to be teachers. But you know, teachers were barely making anything. So most of people who benefited from that scholarship, they came back, they worked for 1 or 2 years, they had reached retirement age. And then when we left, education and the other authority decided to retire them. So you have most of the teachers now that are teaching the bachelor is a university now. People from outside. Instead of continuing the program, everybody came with their own style. But that's why now I want to talk about the Constitution.
The Constitution, and that's what I really want us to do.
Yes.
Constitution.
Yes.
What is the problem with the Constitution? What are your concerns? And why, when you were in the authority, you were close to the president, confidant to the president, why those issues was not talk about? Well, let's wait, and as soon as our guests come back, we're going to get right to those issues. We haven't on it. So yes, so talk to me and talk to our viewers and listeners. Constitution. Why Constitution? Why is so paramount? What is the specific or what is your concern with the Constitution?
Mr. Soy, you're a seasoned journalist, and you don't only report for Liberia, but you report internationally. You just heard the elections that happened in Cameroon. You saw what happened in the Ivory Coast. You see what's happening. I think we got 2 other African countries
Central African
about to go to elections. Our Constitution, after the civil crisis, after the peace accord, and everything that brought Julie Bryant and others and Madame Sirleaf them to power. Madame Sirleaf then, as president, along with the Liberian legislature at the time, established the Constitution Committee, supported by donors, that they would go around and get people of interest, get the youth, the elders, everybody, civil society involved in asking what is wrong with the Constitution and what people would like to see in the Constitution. After a lot of money was spent, a lot of consultation was done, there was a meeting in Banga. And the Constitution review was headed by Senator Gloria Musu-Scott. The late Ruth Caesar and other people. And in that review, it was all based on things that came from the TRC, things that looking at the Constitution, the age of a child, the age of a youth, because during the war, they said youth is from whatever age to 35. So how do you distinguish between a child, the youth, and adolescent? What role do women have to play after the peace? How we have had first elections, our Constitution says chiefs are supposed to be elected. Mayors are supposed to be elected. We were proposing that superintendents be elected. We're proposing that the tenure for senator from 9 years go back to 6 years. We're proposing that representative from 6 years go back to 4 years.
4 years.
And these things were all done. When it was time for the referendum, it was close to the elections of 2017. And of course, the lawmakers, because they didn't want that to happen. Mr. So let me tell you, as much as I work in this country in the United States, in Liberia, I served Liberia government for 12 years as an executive, according to them, because you are appointed by the will and pleasure of the president, you are not entitled to any benefits.
No benefit?
Any benefit. But the lawmaker...
What position?
Any position, once the president appoint you executive, because the president can appoint you, she can fire you anytime, or he can fire you anytime. So the only people that are entitled to benefits are civil servants and elected officials. The elected officials get dry cleaning money. They get bearer money. Whether they get elected or not elected, they get benefits still. They still getting government money. The people say, we want you, but they still put money there, they're getting money. They got drivers, they're entitled to 16 staffers. I mean, the benefits is numerous. But as an executive, you are appointed and you serve at the will and pleasure of the president according to them. So the Constitution review was to review some of these things and see what were appropriate. Forget about the executive getting benefits, but our Constitution says city mayor should be appointed, should be elected. We have not had any municipal elections.
The
Chief.
paramount chiefs
They
and all.
take when they say that they take somebody, their friend, they say they men are chief today. No, chiefs are supposed to be elected so that they have that. But you know our lawmakers said? Because they elected, if they elected people, the people will not respect them.
What was the executive role in that? Because more or less those functionary are on the executive. So what was it?
No,
Was that
the,
something
the executive,
the
the
president? I mean,
executive,
what I mean, the president was pushing that agenda. Is that the case?
yes.
Because I
The,
believe on Helen Johnson Sirleaf, these people the election did take place, right, with these chiefs
no,
or
no,
not? It
no,
didn't.
no, no, it didn't. Because it was not in the constitution
It was
then
not.
as the
It
first
wasn't.
round. So she wanted it to take place for 2017. Okay. But you remember, because of the president and because of our lawmakers, at the time, Edwin Snow was speaker. Edwin Snow was removed. Then you had Eric Starter. Eric Starter was removed. So we're in their own setting. For some reason, the Constitution review that they themselves participated in, when it was sent to them for review, they were pushed under the table.
But
So I'm saying
Minister,
to you, Mr. Spratt, when people
mhm.
talk about, oh, our constitution this, our constitution that, but it's the same people that go back and elect these people. Can we not get back together and go on the table and see how we can start it before 2029? Right
Let's
now, it's
digress
everybody
here.
campaigning. Yeah.
Yeah, let digress here a little bit. History is all about the past and the
Yeah.
future, but other free thinker out there will be thinking that, wait a minute, what is the minister is saying? The president, it was on her watch. There was a ruling party. They have good representations in the first. I mean, in the two houses, both the Senate, the representative and the Senate, and even if it's approved from the rep, it would be concurred by the Senate. Why not it was in that push to make sure that is achieved. Do you
I
think
agree.
do you think she did enough to get
Well,
that passed?
she
Because
started she started the process by setting up the committee. She started the process by making sure the committee was commissioned by the legislature. She started the process by making sure that they got to work and working with partners and donors and looking at best practices around our continent, especially within the ECOWAS area. So she started the process. But you have three branches of government. Once it was done, it was approved by them that the committee should go to work. And the committee went to work and submitted to them the results. So the results were there for the review and to submit to the president and say, look, we have reviewed this. This is where we have problem. This is where we think need to be corrected or changed and sent back to her. But it was never done.
so who was sitting on that?
The legislature, because they didn't want competition. They're afraid that if the city mayor is elected, they will not, according to them, they should be the only elected official from the county. But that's not what our constitution says. So that's why they need to go back and read the Constitution and see that the Constitution says we have violated the law, the Constitution, for how many elections now? 4.
Remind me, remind me if I forgot. Do you think
Mhm.
the president spoke out loudly with respect to what happened with? Because I remember 1976 or 78. My father then, who was a chief, there
Mhm.
was it used to be a real excitement when these elections, chieftaincy elections, and these different elections taking place. It can be really, really,
That's
really
what gave them
intense.
that power. That's what gave them that authority. Yeah, but right now they don't. They are appointed by the lawmaker from the district.
Do
So
you remember the former president making appointments of city mayor and chiefs as well?
not, but she put them in as acting, like Mirabel. Mirabel are acting. And the very lawmaker and that time have problem. And so thinking that when they come over now, they're going to change that. But they had to put people there as acting mayor. Not city mayor, you were
Was that
acting
what
mayor.
happened through all of the 16, 15 political subdivisions? Or
Yes,
everybody were acting on her
yes.
march?
Everybody was acting. The only elected mayor that they still had at the time was the mayor of Buchanan City, because he was elected the last election when Amos Sawyer and somebody were running for mayor in Monserrado. So Sanga was there and he stayed there until he died. So after his death, the next mayor became appointed. to act. So yes, and up to now they are still acting.
Do you see that?
That need to be corrected. Whether it happened her time or not, you have had 2 elections after her. You have President Weah, you have President Boyka. So 2 wrong don't make a right. If it didn't happen during her time, that doesn't make it happen now. It needs to say, I'm bringing it to the table to say, is it about time that we call the shot a space, and we make sure that municipal election, chieftaincy election, is put forth before the general elections. It's not late. It can be done.
Including the superintendent.
Well, the superintendent was not in the Constitution. So it was something new we're proposing, because the superintendent are supposed to serve as governor. The superintendent cannot go out and go lobby for the county because you are an executive. You can say that one month the president move you. But if you are elected by the people, you become the governor of that county. And what the lawmakers are doing, you can use your own thing to buttress it, to move your county forward. You won't be sitting there waiting for county development fund or social development fund. You will go out there and lobby because you have that authority from the people. It's the people that elect you.
This seems to me, you being close to her and making an educated guess, do you think is a administrative regret on her part that did not happen on her watch for the 8 years?
But
12 years?
I don't think it's a regret, because if she didn't put forth the constitution review with a recommendation, then that's a different thing. But she did. She made every effort. But
the maritime for that process didn't complete.
Yes. So what happened now? So even if she didn't, you had President Weah for 6 years. You know what they did? They went through the referendum, and they only picked what was important to them. During the senatorial special elections, they went and put it on the ballot. And a group of us as civil society people, the women of Liberia spoke and said, no, the senatorial election is a special election to elect senators. You cannot put proportion of the constitutional review into the thing for elections when we have not educated our citizens on it. Because once you put it there, anything on the constitution affects the constitution. So you need time to educate the people. You need time to put it in simple English. You need time to put it in a different vernacular.
Okay, so quickly here, the guy who was then vice president to her, the guy is in a driving seat now. Do you think, for example, this sort of conversation is taking place behind the scene? Hey, look, you are my principal deputy. This did not materialize. But this seems to be a continuity because you are the guy in charge. Do you think those sort of conversations is taking place privately with now the sitting president?
I will wait for you to ask her that. But from my own perspective, I think it should be going on. I think he should know because he was part and parcel of it. And most of the people in his government right now are people who work for Madam Salif. So
literally, it's like, yes, the conversation is taking place, correct?
No, you know what? I'm saying to you that it should be. If it's not, it should be. Because he's aware of it. He's know about it. But there might be other issues and other interests. But I'm saying to you that now we are going to bring it back to the table. We are going to go to him and say, this is it. How can we take it from here to there? We'll go to the lawmakers and we take it to them. We take it to the executive, we take it to the lawmakers, and we take it to the citizens. And say, how do we correct the wrong? How do we fix it? Because it wasn't done 12 years. It wasn't done the last 6 years. There's no reason why it can't be done now.
You willing to lead that charge?
Of course I am. I run an organization called Liberian Women Can Lead. And that's what we're about.
Has the process started?
Yes.
Starting from your home front, you got to get a support of your own senators, your representative. Have you had that conversation with them?
Because they are there, we're going to start with the civil society, the citizens, okay? And yes, you're right, everybody come from a county, but we'll put the framework. We got the framework. We'll look at it, review it, and see where it fell short. Is there where we need to correct it and how we can get partners and all to help us so that we can put for it. But yeah, the process is starting.
Which political party? Because people moving here and there, transitioning from one place there. Do you have any political party that you associate or your membership with?
Mr. So, I've always been a Unity partisan. I've never joined any other party. But if you can recall, I don't know if you remember, uh, 2017, before then, we're all in the cabinet and they passed the code of conduct. The code of conduct was challenged by 11 of us as cabinet members. The only person who gave into the code of conduct at the time, the dean of cabinet, was Augusta Kafwan, because he wanted to run. And we took it to court and said, look, the law is the law until it is proven, until you can't to court. We went to the lower court. They denied us. We took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court granted us our status and said yes, because of the timing, it was not right, and what they were demanding under the code of conduct was not right. I went back to our party. Our party, under then the chairman of Councilor Vonnie Sherman, under the secretaryship of Wilma P., denied us and said because our standard bearer at the time as president signed the code of conduct. But the vice president was also the vice president when the code of conduct, he was a member of cabinet, and it went to vote. And so the cabinet was not one or two persons. Those of us who thought that it was wrong, we voted against it. Those who thought it was right, voted for it, so it passed.
Let me make this ridiculous comparison, and if it doesn't make sense, when a minister just tell me. Like here, you will always hear people say, the Obama Democrats, the Joe Biden Democrats. Do they have the Helen Johnson Sirleaf Unity Party, and do they have Joseph Boycott Unity Party?
I think they got one Unity Party, but notwithstanding, the rest of it will be done differently. I don't know. I don't think they have two different parties. I think after a while, people take a break. You see, even with the Joe Biden Democratic Party, with Donald Trump Republican Party, you don't see all of the Republicans, loyalists talking about it. Sometimes you just let things play out. But there's one Unity Party. You say unity, so you cannot have more than one party. But some of us decide to be active and not active at a particular time.
Are you active now?
No, I'm not.
Why? Do you care to tell us?
I'm taking a break and I'm trying to get involved in other activities for now. When the time reaches, we will.
It's just a rough edge with the just a human boycott Unity Party. Is that could be the reason?
I wouldn't say the Joseph Boycott Unity Party, because they say things are only harmful depending on the surrounding. Okay, I was denied on running on the Unity Party ticket. I ran independent.
Independent.
And since after the elections, they have not called me back, but I've not joined any other political party. I'm a UPist.
It seems to be that little bad blood, political bad blood is still there, right?
Well, I don't know where it comes from, but if it's there, there's nothing can wash it away. But it's okay.
Okay.
Other people went became chairman of political party, and they brought them back and gave them jobs. So I'm fine. I was always speak on behalf of the United Party because there where we started from, and there where we are, and there where we'll be, because people will come and go, but the party should remain supreme.
This is one of the many series pending. I know we have a time in place. We're going to be having this conversation. When last you spoke with President Joseph Newman Boycott since he got elected? Have you had a conversation with him? Congratulated him? Friendly conversation?
I've congratulated him. I was at his last birthday party last year.
Oh.
Yeah. But you know, everything, protocol has changed. Everything has changed. I was at the late Honorable Grisby funeral in Texas. I thought you were going to be there, but he couldn't make it. He sent his son. So, yeah. But I have communication to him.
Having this conversation here tonight, and all of a sudden tomorrow morning, boom, phone call jump in from while he's in France. Hey, Minister Carr says your retirement is hereby renewed. Are you willing to go serve if you are called upon?
I'm a servant of the people. Anything in that capacity to serve my people and to give back, yes. But it might come with some conditions.
Such as what could be that condition?
That's not for me. Mr. So, right now, like I said, I'm freelancing. Okay. So to just drop out everything that I'm doing, I did that before. I'm not sure if I'm willing to do that. So it depends. But yeah, anything to do with my people, once it has to do with the people of Liberia, and to be specific, my county, yeah, that our country, we were there to serve. I lived there.
Okay. I know I don't want to keep you time at here.
Yeah.
Quickly, talk to me about this whole visa thing here. What do you make of it?
Let me say, there has to be a reason why the United States have agreed to extend the tenure of visa. We want to welcome it, but like I said, there are our own Liberians who've been in this country for over 40, 50 years and never rectify the status. So extending it to 3 years, are they going to use that?
Can you position? Can you the camera? Okay, much better.
Okay, all right. You know, my battery was dying, so I came some.
Okay, yeah, I think we are wrapping up now. After this, I think we can conclude.
It's a good sign that Liberia and the United States are building on the relationship, that there is still something there. But I think just to say more than they have granted Liberia 3-year visa, and it's now one time to go and come. A lot of people find out because to go to the embassy for people to get visa, they're not small thing. So with that being said, what do they want in return? There's nothing for nothing. So they don't tell us the whole story. There has to be something.
That's your party. That's your party. You should have an insight. You should tell me that.
That's my party, but everybody in government are not from the party. It was a coalition. It was a political marriage. So some people preparing themselves for 2029 on the Unity Party's interest. Some people are not. So I'm just saying, I think that the foreign minister owes that to a better explanation. We applaud them for that. We applaud them that now that Liberia has a seat at the Security Council. Liberia has always been in top position within the UN sector and the African Union and ECOWAS. Okay, so with the visa thing with Donald Trump now, President Trump would like to see what it is. You putting children, or people are afraid to take their children to school. The parents can't even drop their children to school anymore. So you go to America with 3-year visa. What does that mean? The ones that are there, are you going to give them where Biden gave them? Are you going to? Yes. So tell us, okay, all the ones that, you remember during President, I don't think it was Biden. Was it Obama? When he granted them
the TPS,
TPS, yes, that's what we're talking about, so that they can renew their status. But you say you're giving that 3-year visa, so after the 3 year, then what next? So that means they have to start getting themselves ready and prepare that within that 3 years that we have retained their status. I have no problem with that. I think it's a good step. I think it sounds good. But I think we need to go to and that's why we fall short, Mr. So. We start something and we praise and then we don't follow what happened after. What comes after? But for image sake for Liberia and the kind of relationship with Liberia and the United States, that's a start.
It seems to me like it's a suspicions of political backing. We saw this guy who they're going to be giving, so it's like a give and take. We know how Uncle Santo can mount pressure. Now, will you be seeking answer for that?
Well, as an activist, yes, we will. We will. And I don't think that anything wrong. I think everybody else out there should join us because it has to do with our peace and security. It has to do with, the more they talk about say no to drugs, the more drugs are coming out. Don't go after their buyers. Go after their suppliers. Where are they coming from? I've never seen so much drugs. When your drugs are being confiscated, we're not seeing where they're going, what is being done with it. But we're excited that LDA is working. No problem. But then what happened after? We need to find out from these people who are the suppliers. Somebody giving it to them. Our mothers putting it in a palm oil gallon.
Why you think what do you think they have connections in the higher places, high profile people? Because this thing must be facilitated by people.
Definitely. But then the more we talk about it, the more we see drugs. They said the same drugs are being recycled. We're not hearing how there's disposing of these drugs. We're not hearing the investigation with the people who they call their way to say who gave it to them. Are they going after the suppliers? It's the suppliers, not the buyers. You're taking the children off the street, Mr. So before we close. Taking them off the street, putting them in a rehab center for 3 months. That doesn't solve the problem. What happened to the parents? Where is the social circle portion of this? Do we find out from them what put them in the streets? And some of them are very smart. But if the parents do not accept them, they will go right back. If their family do not want them in that cycle, the community don't want, they will go right back.
No, you want me to rather get this conversation here, which I will do just a little bit, and then you put the cap on the head. So somebody out there who is eager to, wait a minute, you work for the government, you had a president who had a massive support for demobilization, integrations of these people, the term Azoko, I don't usually like to call that name, politicians does. We don't know where that process starts from. How many persons were really the beneficiary? How many persons were really integrated in society? Because saying the kind of what is happening now, as if nothing was even done since our country. What do you say to that?
Mr. So, people will have to say what they want to say. But when people and family don't take responsibility, okay, doing the decentralization, doing the rehabilitation, people were trained, LOIC centers were built all around the country. But it doesn't just stop there. It's a continuation. So you take people out, people go in, people come out. So the next people come, you follow. But the system got broken down. Okay, everybody kind of their person project, so they want to do their own project. No, government is continuity. Look on the book, read. I remember the minister that took after me said that we never did turn it over. That is not true. In front of all of the partners that we're working with, the Ministry of Gender Social Protection, we left $16.5 million for cash transfer program. If you recall, it was during that time when the UN told them they must stop using donor funding because that was not what it was intended for. We had the cash transfer program, we had the rural women program, we had the cross-border traders, we had the adolescent children, we had the youth parliament, the children parliament. We have all of these organizations where we had the children speaking out in every county. The women, the marketeers. The people used to go when we had go and buy that thing. But if they're not able, we never refer to nobody doing a Manaserif time at Zogo. They were not, they were called the what they call them, something children. They used to be on the street. Disadvantage. But once you start calling them that name Zogo, you change the whole dimension. They were disadvantaged because some of the family, there were people who were in the United States who got deported. And I got relatives that fell in our shoes too. But when they came back, we looked for family to relocate them with family. Just like the Ebola. When Ebola broke up, when they said half of that bro going to be killed. But with the family tracing, connection tracing, can you take care of this person? If you do what the government need to do to help you take care of this person. And we make sure the social worker check on that person. And that's how we're able to prevent and avoid the damage that Ebola we have done in our country. But once you left the system, everybody say that the person project, we want to want our own project. By the time you start your own project, says you're gone.
Yeah.
That's the problem with us.
My guess you get a lot to talk. My guess you're going to be doing a book, right?
I am. It's coming up soon. Because you don't tell your story, somebody will tell your own story. So I will tell my story.
I'm waiting to see that memoir. There you go. The former Minister of Gender and Social Protection, former Superintendent Mrs. Juliet Duncan Cassette. Madam, thank you so much. What a friendly conversation. We get a lot to go, a lot to do. It's a gradual process. We're not going to empty it out, but it was a fascinating conversation. Don't hesitate anytime, any hour, if there's anything you want to share, whether we agree or disagree. We have those painful conversations, and ultimately, we all everybody gear to find out the best for Liberia. I want to thank you so much for sharing this Wednesday evening with us right here on LPR.
Thank you, Mr. So, and thank you to the Liberia Public Radio. Continue to inform our people. A lack of information leads to disinformation. So we appreciate your time and your effort, and we are available when necessary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our listeners.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, there you have it. A note to the analysts, just through the link out there. To those of you who will have a chance, sometimes we need to have these conversations, whether we agree, and all of the questions will not be asked as one may think or want it to be, because we need to have these people. We got to make them to come, and ultimately we can get this information. Let's take a quick break here, and I will be right back. Travelers, this is the news for you.
Hey you, it's time to pack your bags. The world is calling. From the skies above to every corner of the map, explore all 7 continents with journeys designed especially for Europe and Africa. Whether it's a cruise, an all-inclusive resort, a hotel, car rental, theme park getaway, or the perfect excursion, Ayana's Dream Escapes brings the world within reach. Adventures start here. Don't just dream, escape. Book now, visit our site, scan the QR code, or just call today.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, Lpr. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events, such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services and your friends in business.
Thank you so much. Okay, joining me now is Sister Goya. We're going to be here for a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I'm going to put your number here to get your reactions and other news. What is important to you as well, probably within touch, but there are a lot going on. The visa extension program, too much is just playing out simultaneously at the same time. Whether we agree or disagree, you also can have a say. The number there is 781-363-5939. FOIA correspondent is in the house. The FOIA correspondent based in, I don't know, do they have FOIA in Minnesota?
Man, FOIA get border everywhere now. According to former minister, deputy minister Isaac, everywhere share border about. Lofa anybody share border, so FOIA share border Minnesota.
I want to airport at Portland, so I can get in there and get some real toboggy oil. Okay, Sister, good to have you here. Good evening. Let's have a little brief chat here. The number, if you want to call, you get a concern or what you want to speak about, what I related to the interview, or there are other things that matters to you, the 781-363-5939. Good evening, Sissy. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Stowe. It's always nice to be on. Appreciate you.
Yes, I see you tweeting crazy out there. Let's hear you.
Well, I followed the entire interview, and we have to thank people who give their time to serve our nation. So I first have to start off with that and say, she seems to have, served Liberia in many roles, and which is a good thing when people can do that. We all know folks don't have benefits, and she actually spoke about that. Folks who work for the Brown government in higher positions, unless you are elected as a legislator, you do not seem to have benefits thereafter. So we have to be very careful, and be very intentional when we give thanks to people who serve our nation. Now, having said that, there were so many attempts on her part to try to rewrite history while we stay alive. And I think that is just wrong. So there are a few things I want to point out. This Morba Molu syndrome, of you are in government, you don't do what you're supposed to do, you leave, then you become advocate. It's a very dangerous process that is started. So is the former minister now telling us now that after being a very close person to Ellen for 12 years leadership, that the things they weren't able to do, we should just leave it now, and didn't do it, so why now we're coming by now to hold people's feet to the fire? Why didn't you hold your own feet to the fire? Right? And look, sometimes the message is great, but the messenger sometimes is questionable. In this case, this is a questionable messenger. Right? We have to be very clear about that. You are in government. You are at a seat. You are at the table making decisions. You don't make decisions. When they put you outside of the room, that the time now you can't be yelling from outside of the room how decisions should be made. I think that's a disservice to the Liberian people. And this thing about trying to pour cold water on the visa situation, she didn't even seem to understand the difference between tourism visa, which is what is actually being addressed here, tourist visa, business visa, and immigrant status in the U.S. Immigration statuses in the U.S. by American law, if you're here illegally, that's a whole different thing to take care of. That is not something that's going to be arranged between Joseph Boakai or Sarah Nyanti and Marco Rubio just easily like that. And by the way, when Liberians were here for those many years on TET and DED, because I can say that with authority because we led that fight, we went to DC, I still have video showing that. It was President Trump during negotiation that actually gave their pathway to Liberian citizens, right? This B visa got nothing, absolutely nothing to do with folks that are here illegally. Those are two different things, and I don't think the minister understood that, right? And then the last piece. This would be laughable if it weren't so serious. This was a minister that led Ministry of Gender and Children Protection. And she's here arguing about drug use and that the process of trying to get people into rehab is so slow, and she's bemoaning what is happening now. Let them show us the receipt from what they did from the beginning stages, because this soul, this national soul started. It was small during early time. We would have put teramazine on it, put plaster on it. They didn't do it. They let it eat a whole foot of the nation. And now they want to come back and become advocates to complain. Cry me a river. And to say that Madam President, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf acquiesced and was complicit in the violation of the Liberian Constitution, that mayors were appointed in 18 positions, knowing fully well that you try to blame another branch of government. That's a shame on the Ellen surrogacy. I just got to point that out. That is a shame on the Ellen surrogacy.
Okay, let me hear you. Thank you so much. Let's welcome Moses. Moses is in the house on the live view. Moses, good evening. Happy good Wednesday. May we have Dr. George Toto is on the line from Pittsburgh. Dr. Toto, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Apostle. Thank you for beautiful interview I have with the former minister.
Okay.
And Moses.
All right. Since you are on the phone, let's get your piece that you pick up.
Yeah, I did the interview also. I saw how disappointed the minister come there, the way she addressed some of the questions he asked to her. Looking at the type of person she was in any government, she was one of the darling girls in any government. And they ran that country for 12 years. And all the issues that she tried to advocate for, I'm just scratching my head. Where was she? Where was they? Especially when it comes to the issue of justice in Nigeria, being the gender minister. What are some of the policies she put in place that address these issues that she can point out today that will have a widespread of drugs, something that affecting that young people in the country? Those are one of the years for her. But instead of coming out to be advocate for a good society like Nigeria now, when you see issues before your hair, you didn't do much about it. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. And then even when it comes to the mayoral election and town chief and other people, they were there. Why were they presenting them to not even have or even special election for town chief, city mayor, and other people there? When they have toys, when they have resources were flowing in the country like a milk and honey. Everybody was bathing into it. And yet they didn't do this thing there. Now the former minister want to tell her now that she's an advocate for good governance. I yet to see it there. Those are things that I don't know share or the show.
Okay, if you have the time, just stick there with us. So we have a little time here. Today is midweek. Maybe I know Fufu Tobagi, message a man from Foya correspondent say he gets some soup to go. Moses, let's hear you from Delaware area. I know you are monitoring. What's up?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Tor. And let me tell you, first and foremost, what a splendid interview you had with the former minister. And I cannot say enough how appreciative I am. And you know that my appeal to LPR is to definitely start having these conversations on meat issues, and so that we can have some discourse.
Let me welcome the queen in the house.
And if that why you interrupting me? Because you're
I said the queen is in the house.
that queen, I saw her in the church on Sunday doing all kind of tabata thing.
They talked about her in church and all.
Oh yeah, they were doing the tabata thing, throwing money all over the place.
She was speaking in tongues. She was speaking in tongues.
What you say?
Mr. Pigo, lead that for your correspondent alone.
She was speaking in tongues or she was speaking Roman?
But anyway, let me say that I think the interview was splendid, and we have a lot of talking points. Some of whom I'm very interested in. The issue with the Constitution, the referendum that was supposed to go through the legislature, that the review. We got yet to see a copy of that. I would love to see that revised Constitution that the minister alluded to, mentioned. And she mentioned something about the drugs issue. And we need to, my own, I have a different sentiment about her response. And maybe we can talk about it lengthily later, or maybe some other day. The challenges she mentioned, there were enormous challenges, which we all realized. And we know Rome wasn't built in one day, and that it took some time to do certain things. And you were very thorough in asking her particular questions about the first 12 years as it relates to now, with some of the people who are in office now, who knew what was going on then. So I wait to see what's going on, and that she has an organization that advocate for some of these things, and I would like to know more about those organizations to see how they kind of assimilated in Liberia and who is part of it. So that you guys talk about a lot of stuff that was really interesting. I just want to commend you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And I think, and hopefully, I want to tell thank you. I mean, to get her to this point here, and part of that is to have this conversation, whether we agree and disagree, but to give them the opportunity,
Right.
to have this conversation to kind of show them, because nobody wants to be disrespected. We can disagree with it, and that's one of the things I
Absolutely.
believe we try to do here on LPR as well, because just how you want to be respected. Most of the official, even former and official, they all were willing to come. But let me just bring in Koto Jalat Balayan, a strong supporter of this government, formerly established ANC. ANC started taking different roles. She said, you know what, I'm going back to handle as Zozo. Which district from as because sister from Foya, you the same Foya woman too, or
No, she's from Wajama.
you from the city, is that?
Of
Oh, that,
course, I'm a city girl.
yeah, that's a nice thing. Must say, how you married you know?
I know the Balanya family. I know all of them. I live in
Baraya is
Don't do that, dude.
the Baraya is my husband, but I am a Jala.
They got a Banisa, they got the Loma side. Maybe if I
Yeah, they have the Loma, the Banisa, they get the. But our family is called the Zizi family.
According to Prophet
from where
Key,
Bagazi
according to Prophet Key,
No,
Jala
from
is
Luti,
common now.
too.
Lutusu? Oh, but then we got relationship.
According to Prophet Key, Jala come on now. By only that, you look like Jala come on now.
Lutusu, and the people from Senegal, the Jala from there are all related.
Okay, Koto, I don't know. I'm not sure whether you monitored the former Minister of Gender, Madam Juliet Duncan Cassay. You had the opportunity to listen to us?
Yes, I listened to her from start to I think finish.
Start to
Maybe in between, I may have missed some portion, but I think I was following you guys.
Okay, what you grab from out of there? Where is your agreement, disagreement? Where you think things went a little bit zigzag?
Well, some of the things she said, I 100% agree with her when it came to the rehabilitation of the, let's say, former combatants and like what we call the Zogos. Then I had to work with an institution that was responsible for a portion of the rehabilitation of these people. The fund that was coming in was not I distributed or directly deposited in the account of the government. The funds were then given to various institutions. They call it the NGOs or the INGO. Those were the institutions that were bringing in the fund, and they chose to implement it the way it was, like program planned from overseas, and that's how it was implemented. So to say, I see people many of times saying, oh, the money that came in, they have money in their pockets and they were not implementing the what they should have done. I think, and that's where sometimes I disagree with some of the people when they say that. And like she rightly said, the country at the time was broken completely. And coming at a time to be a president, it requires a lot because every system and every era was broken. So it was like starting from all zero. So in that sense, to just cover up everything then, it was kind of difficult, which I agree with her. The only place sometimes I would not discuss much, it was the second term, because by then I had to leave from Liberia to come to America. And by then, when I came here, I really was not following politics because of my time in school. And I don't like to discuss things that I have, idea of, But I heard that the second term, there was some irregularities. But when I was there, because by then I was working with NGO. When I left, I was doing my own business. When it came to the system setting in the Ministry of Finance and other area, we could see changes, in those era where it came to taxes, where we were invading taxes, and people were set up. Even when you went to finance ministry to pay your tax, now people used to be afraid because they were afraid that you would be recalling them or you would be doing something, to report them. So that's how the system was then. So to some extent, I think the country was coming, to a normal stage then. But again, that's the truth, that some of the things she said is actually true because I was there. They had the roads were all damaged, institution was up, they were all damaged. Because we even started the multilateral institutions that you were talking about. I happened to be with the MOH rehabilitation project, then that rehabilitated those schools and some of the hospitals. That was the Vera Hospital, Current Hospital, the one in Kakata, and the one in no Banga. And I mean, everywhere we were trying to touch every bit of it. But then those were just the few at a time that could be, accommodated and just and done at a time. So it was just hard. So it was good that, like she said, these systems were put in place. The following government that came in, if they had just picked up from where it started, we would have been far, gone from where we were. Because it would have been like, the system is just like barely on. Because what happened is like even computer, softwares and things, they you need to develop it, and there are system changing even with our various computers and things. We have to update it, and that's how the system goes. But if it comes to the point where you cannot update it and stop right there, then you lost track of the whole system. I think that's what actually may have happened then.
Let's take a holistic review here on the whole thing here. Those who work in government and exited government, coming within the public space to say, to just take a flashback, to take a back and say, maybe we're having this conversation to move forward. Don't we see that as a healthy thing, regardless of our position, whether we agree and disagree with them? But they also, regardless of them being part of the party, even though it did not happen, because it will be a consistent thing. Oh, challenges. It too soon. We'll wait and see. And but having the courage to talk about it, especially you are a member of that party, shouldn't we encourage that, to have these people to come out to give us a testimony or to give us what happens during their time?
Exactly, that is right. Because if we don't do that, some of the pieces we're gonna miss on it. Because if you don't bring these people to explain to you, like what she said in her era, she talks about her era and what the improvement it did there. She talked about it. And the political aspect, we were there. I didn't work with government. I was working with a private institution. But in the private institutions, we were undertaking some of these, like for the rehabilitation, we were part of that. Schools, the schools that were responsible for rehabilitation, we were responsible to pay these people. And that's why sometimes when I said the other time we're talking here, and Sese just went and threw the whole, conversation off, which was not, for him, that's how he took it. But the opportunity were there that our people should have,
because we can go down the road. You want us to go down that road. Because you know what he said exactly that day.
What we're talking,
Don't finish your points.
Yeah, but she's not my sister, but she dominated.
No, but what did I say he talking about?
Moses,
you just come and you alluded to something, and you know exactly what he said that day. So you want to go down that road, you go down that road. I'm just telling you.
Give me a chance. There is something that we have to discuss.
Hold on. We have to maintain some civility here. Well, she calls her name, you can call anybody name, your time will come, you can
exactly speak. And I was saying he misunderstood it and interpreted it differently. There were students that were to be supported, especially for those that were in that situation that we call the Zogo today. They needed to be, to make use of these opportunities then. But they started to sell it to people who were not Zogos then. Like if they gave you your ID to undergo rehabilitation, they took the ID and started selling it to people who were not, their calm. In that case, At the time, you don't have a DNA to go be checking. You don't have a fingerprint to go and be checking it. People that came with an ID, except where you see that the resembling is not like what you actually wanted to be, then you kind of disqualify them. But if you saw their resembling, they would tell you, say, oh, but at the time, I was like this. So the opportunity was given them. Those that needed it and wanted to make use of it, they sold it, which was not right.
Okay.
I wish then we had like system where you could get fingerprint there and disqualify most of these people. So they did not use the opportunity and led us to where we are. But actually, the opportunity was there then. Even when it came to us bailing centers in Cape Mount, we went to Cape Mount. I was responsible for bombing in Cape Mount. I suggested to the country director, instead of bailing, because the first thing they came, they started bailing those raptors horses for the people. So I suggested to him, I said, instead of bailing the raptor, for the people, when it stays for like few years, it will start to break and it won't be durable. So what I suggested then was to allow them to make their own bricks, and then we will pay them for making their own bricks, and then pay for the zinc and everything. We complete the billings. They agree with everything. When it came to the people making their own bricks, we will pay them for making their own bricks, and they will not make the bricks.
Okay,
so the problem is us. It wasn't an easy thing. We have to be penalizing them, but again, what they should have done, what should have been done, was not done. Because if you don't use the phone, like what institution was doing, some institution were doing, if you do not use the phone, as soon as it comes to the turn of the closure, they take their money back or transfer it to another project.
Okay, Koto, let me hold you there. Let me bring the folks, and it will call attention. Let us just pray here because we intend to move with time here. Let me bring you in, Sissy. I see you moving left and right here. Where is the disagreement?
Well, first thing, let me answer your question first, then I'll go down to Koto trying to rewrite history, because I think it's a unity party thing. They try to rewrite history while we're still living. The first thing is to answer no. It's cowardice. It is not bravery when these people try to come out and try to talk after. It's bravery when you can leave the government on the disagreement and you come out to speak. Now that you are not, you ask her if she's in the corridors of power. You ask that you went about it so many ways, and she answered you that she's not at the table. She's not in the powers of. She's not in the corridors of power. So she's not speaking truth to power. She would have spoken truth to power while sitting at the table. So this is not bravery. This is cowardice. And this is a Morban Molu syndrome, right? You leave power, then you become advocate. And I know that Unity Party people, they like to pick and choose between which Unity Party they will support. And it says here that Joe, we are there now that want to destroy the whole country. When you have money coming in, when you have somebody leading women's and children protection, that they could not rehabilitate people. When you have a scholar, political scholar par excellence in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who understood that mayor was supposed to be elected, and her surrogate sit down here and say, oh, that the legislature headed up. Legislature headed up something that was already passed by local government laws. Crimea River. To Koto's issue, Koto did not say the last time about people selling stuff. She gave an example and she even talked about herself, how she came from a poor family, her mind used to sell and brought herself up. So those people who didn't come up, it's not government fault. She was trying to excuse government's inability, and I thought that was disrespectful. You cannot blame people for the inaction of government. I find themselves in poverty. What you're trying to say is that the outlier in statistics, you're an outlier. I'm an outlier. My parents were poor. My mom dropped out of school in the 3rd grade. She got pregnant in the 3rd grade. My dad, my grandfather was a chief with 36 kids. My dad had no chances of going to school. He managed to go to school. That's an outlier. I cannot use that to blame other people who are in abject poverty where the government refuses to live up to the constitutional requirement and say that they're fault because I made it, because now I sit in America and I can speak English, so that they're fault. And that's why I told you that was condescending and that was disrespectful. That's why I said that. So don't try to resell it here today and repackage it, right? As people selling stuff, the records are there. That's exactly what we talk about that day. And I will say it to you any given day when you make that statement, that is disparaging, that is condescending, that is disrespectful to poor people in Liberia.
Moses. I think you're talking to Delaware people.
I mean,
That ain't Delaware.
you know, when people say things and you get so antsy about wanting to respond, you're trying to put your thought together. But my issue here is this: we need to always remember the post-war era coming in 2006, after 14 or more years of civil conflict and trying to put this country back in order. You would have seen there were too many challenges, total anarchy, and we know that. And people are saying the drug business started in, and it would have ended it in one term. The United States have had drugs problem for over 100 decades, and still having that problem. It's difficult to bring drug issue to an end, especially so the condition in Liberia where drugs came and became more prevalent. When I was growing up, if you smoke reefer around us, oh man, you're doing bad thing, that bad cigarette. Today, look at the kind of drugs we have in the country. It started during the war, when kids were put under the influence to go and either kill or be killed. And it exacerbated during the war with all these different kind of drugs. And people with cannibalism were all practiced. It's not something to overcome in one term of office, in two terms of office. We got to take baby steps. I'm more concerned about some of the things that she talked about that they started and how it's not continuing today. And you know, you asked a very good question about the divide in political party, who supported who, whether they were divided. And she was very straight on that and said unity party is unity party. There's no difference in unity party. You know, and I respect that. But by the same token, some of the efforts that were made to try to change the Constitution that didn't go through, it's really baffling me today. The other one that should talk about legislative benefits. Executives don't have benefit, and legislators have benefits.
Clarence, can you hold on? Clarence, hold the line. Just hold on. After Moses, I'll bring you in.
You know, how do you equip that? And you know, and those are things that I really want to have a discourse on as to that document. We need to see the document that was put together, the review document, the final document that are presented to the legislators. And because they were being targeted to reduce the term of office and to address the benefits and all of that, they shut it down. And we know what happened to Snow. He was kicked out. We know that he was kicked out. We know Alice Tyler went there, never ended his term, and he was gone. We know some of these things. These are evidence of what happened. So my thing here is, and when Koto was talking, she talk about the benefit. What I want in her next presentation, Koto, can you please explain to me what was the benefit of having the ID card and selling the ID card? What did the ID card come to it?
Okay, hold on one second. Koto, hold on. Let me just go to the caller. He been calling now. I'll come to you. Clarence, are you there?
Hey, CEO, how you doing?
Good. Why your liberal? He run away again tonight, right?
I don't know why I didn't run away tonight. I don't know.
You see, I was going to ask you, yeah. You see, when he not here, you can be friendly, you can be so nice to him. By the time you see that man with a juice bottle, then you ready to flip on me. But I had an evening. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and thank you for the show tonight. Thank you for the interview.
Okay, let's hear you.
That was a great interview, but the former superintendent and the former general minister, she tried her best in our country in Grand Bassa because I was in Grand Bassa at that time. She was appointed as a superintendent. And when she took over the country, the road from Monrovia to Buchanan was in a very deplorable condition. And the road was built from Monrovia all the way to the port of Buchanan. And there are other things that happened there. But when my disappointment lies is the statement she made concerning the Duma Festival for the community college in Bassa. It is true during the administration the community college in Bassa was established. And our community college is built in Peterborough. But if you are seeking to stay instructor or engineer for the community college, and people that community college have a major constraint, we as a bridge are connecting the community college, And they said that will be done. And that bridge was not built. Up to this time, I don't know whether the bridge has been built. And beside that, her close, her close connection with the president, she in Basa, we used to call her Pinky. She was the daughter of Ellen. And there are a lot of good things she had happy in Grand Bassa during her administration. And I didn't see much that happy in Grand Bassa. They were my disappointment lot. And today, as I'm speaking to you, I can remember during John Weir time, that brief was an obstacle. And students find it difficult sometimes when that brief is disconnected. It takes sometimes 3-4 months before they can start having school on our campus. So if you are talking about building a community college and you are not looking at the road that connecting to the community college, and when the person used to go in Bassa to pick a place on the process of be, usually used to be rather. And Grand Bassa government hospital in Bassa, from the time even the government took over, we expect our modern hospital in Bassa. And they see all hospitals stay to that place.
That is
so I got a little bit disappointed.
Because of a relationship with the president, is that the case?
Yeah, not on the big, Mr. Toh. In politics, your reward is not in heaven. We know because the convention that brought Ellie and Joe Barker to power in 2005, I was in Bassa, we had a convention in Bassa. I was part of that convention. And we know what we saw on the ground. So the country, the Grand Bassa country is not just ordinary country. It's a country of hospitality in the position of Grand Bassa at that time, giving full support to the government. We expected much from Grand Bassa at that time, but however, I can't say much, but I was really disappointed in getting what you were talking about the festival to improve the community. You've been a community college. There's no road to get to the community college. So then what the essence? So I expect during the term, with her closeness to the president, for all of these projects to be completed because she was there. Last minute, the time they brought her to the general ministry. We're not thinking in Bassa. So I was really disappointed when she was talking about the community college because the community college was really doing any administration that community college issue came up. But today, I don't know whether the bridge has been built. But thank you for the show, Mr. So.
Thank you so much. We always allow views and opinion here. Is there anybody want to speak to this thing? Maybe one more minute so that our last few minutes we have to jump on other news that are making headline. Is there anything somebody want to speak to?
I just want to.
You were, Mr. Segwe were asking concerning the ID, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of ID say you were talking about? Oh, you said the ID.
The rehabilitation. Yeah, rehabilitation ID, but
what sort of ID is that? Is that
it was for the disadvantaged because they were rehabilitating them. So they did their registration and issued them ID where they could go. They could go to any school of trade of their choice. So these various institutions were there that they could take the ID and be in a school, and we monitor them in a school, and they were getting monthly allowance while in a school. That's why they were issued ID.
So the issue that
Moses are coming here. 1 second, Moses are coming. So Koto, talk to me here, because if they just give ID and people should go like here, and I think this is then the system let them down. Then the system that I see if because people like here, if your child is in some sort of how to call it training
disability
or whatever thing, each person there's a case manager. Somebody is a case person is assigned. But because you give it to them to just go, they will be the one with like you telling them to go sign it. If they don't have that in play, then that's a problem. Was that a case that just everything was left with the students? I mean, with those.
No, it was just not left with the student. They had managers that were assigned to like either 20 or 25 person in area. It was not just concentrated in one area. It was like, for me, I was responsible for Bomi and Cape Mount counties. Other people were responsible for other counties.
You're the only person.
Who sold the ID card?
My institution issued the ID to them. When It was no nice soul. We didn't sell it to them.
But you were saying people were selling their ID card.
Yes, they get when each ID card was issued to them. These individuals went and sold the ID card to others to use it instead of them taking advantage of the opportunity. Like they give you your ID. Moses Segbe will go and sell the ID because the ID card have benefits. You were paid monthly and you were to go to a trade school.
So why would I go sell the ID card that I'm supposed to get?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what they were doing.
My people.
That's what they were doing. So when I'm saying this thing and Mr. just blew up, that's what I was saying. We have the opportunity, just let people use it. I was in a condition. I was forcing them. I was appealing to many of them, encouraging them. Because we used to go in the various counties and think to go and pay these people. Some of them would even want to attack us. At some point, I used to tell them, say, man, said the rebel you went through, I'm a rebel too, just to intimidate them to come down on us. But it wasn't an easy thing.
Okay, let's.
So that's what it was. But they we educated that this ID card is to benefit you. But because they wanted that quick money, and then it was just that's how they could do at the time.
I don't know all of the details.
One last thing
I don't think
on
there
this
was
issue.
really strategic plan in place to put to hold all of those conditions. Yeah, what you say, sister?
One last comment on this. By the way, this whole ID card thing is not a plus or minus for the government because we're not government money. So I didn't even care about it. I just cared that there was some condescending comments made. And government can claim that. The other issue I want to talk about, when you asked about folks leaving government and coming out and speaking, they should be held. Don't forget that as we come out to be advocates, we have to make sure that we've cleaned up our own closets. There was a GAC audit report that accused the former minister, when she was then superintendent of Grand Bassa County, of using money from Marcella Matera in ways that were not approved. The report is out there. And so when folks are coming to start asking these questions, that's why I kept asking you. I hope they can answer some of these questions before they come out and start acting like they're now champions. That all of a sudden, George Weah just damaged everything. They didn't damage anything on their way out. The 6-year George Weah staying in power, he just managed to destroy everything that they built, which is a fallacy the OUP is trying to sell about George Weah. So you just got to put that out there. And that was just the last thing I wanted to say on that whole issue.
Let me go to Breakable. Let me go to you. Breakable, let's hear you quickly.
No. They say, if I can't be around here, I can't lay down on the ground and walk on me.
Yeah, today you come in, ladies, says you come in, walk.
I can't lay down on the ground. You lay down on me, you stay on me, I didn't want to say it. No.
Go to mention that I warn you, you will know.
The thing that people in our country can make tea out of news is funny. They won't know. I just left on the land. When she had power, general ministry, people are so raping people all around. The cases around to go away.
Oh my God.
Women, when she support, they were violated every time in our country. She was there. When people use for power, then they are so clean and so pepper and know everything. They know funny. We know all this people. We know all the things. They can't change the tune. No change the can't change the body. Other than Mr. So, 12 years they do in power. The bad thing is in the country. They were there. Before they gave a job, someone else, they were there. Before they get a job, they make sure, they make sure they do this or you do a job. But when they leave on power, then they are so clean. Man, we know all of them. They are not different for everyone are the West Coast that English for our country, even the 1980 to 1970 to 1980. Those are people that saw the country. Because after a war, they support and win the country. They just work and do better in the country by now with power. And I hear people say, when they said the same thing, when they left for power, we are being exported. Are you joking? Tell me what I was there.
So we ask for anything too that you know about?
No, I'm not saying to you.
No, I'm asking
because
you now.
Because they preach. They preach. They make everything negative out here.
Okay, yeah. So is there anything that you know we are doing wrong? The 6 year too. Don't forget about that 12 year.
For me, no. Let me tell you something. No. The only problem that me I got with President Weah was some of these million that were not working in the government fully, you're not chasing. That's the difference. But look,
But don't you think?
hold
on. Don't you think that is 14? Because they were not working. That means they were paying them for nothing.
No, I see some of the mistake they're making, it's not verified to tell them for power, to tell them for in a position. That is different. But on a slow note, the government went to the fullest, but because the politics were playing in the country, they got to do. If you understand this, how they working with, when the army was there, he was everybody, the army, the salary, they give it for money.
Thank you.
So many level power, those people that are not having a job, the president was key. Everything changed.
We gotta go.
Then Facebook king the country. So all the things begin. Wow, ever seen it?
Thank you so much.
But these people don't want to come on air. If you talk, look, I don't have, look, I will go now more of it all the time. I know all, no, sorry, man. I swear to God.
No, when you just looking, keep looking. Look.
Yeah. All of them protecting, he protecting the other person, then he walks by. Oh, business. That's what we get problems.
The thing about it, people will come and castigate others. I will never work with government. You just see me in the street and tell me we eating government money. Can you imagine? People just say things sometimes, and people will believe that you eating government money.
Okay, let's see.
So what he's saying now, I'm not saying there are some bad parts during the Ellington that I can speak about. And for me, I can actually, and even it was a female that what she did to me, but it's a legal issue, so I don't like to be discussing it because probably at the time there will be a time we might go to court on it. Oh. So those are things that especially we expected women.
Maka, hire me.
That's not your limitation.
Well, whatever, I care how long it takes. If it go to the court of jurisdiction, it might go to the court of public, what they can say, public
public opinion.
Public opinion. So one of them, it will go there.
All right, let's have a conversation here quickly with the big news of the announcement, the extensions, and all of that. How big it is? I think you should touch on that. That we need clarification. We need to find out more. Moses, let's talk about a little bit here. The after the meetings with the Her Excellency the Foreign Minister and that of the Secretary of State, we see things popping out with this other man Gazio going, whether he gone or he stay here, where he at. But at higher levels, the government, they will always have these sort of critical conversations and bargaining chip. There will be a bargaining. We do this, you do that. Take this, we do this. And sometimes, it's like a piece of cloth between the scissors. What do you make of this extension coming from Uncle Sam with this visa stuff?
Being someone who was in the front line of looking for status for Liberian people in this country, I'm really bothered about that. I want to know if there's any deal, because Mr. Trump said he's the best deal maker. And he has said that. I mean, every time he speaks, he says it. So I want to know what kind of deal, what benefit is coming to Liberia when you look at these issues. Because we fought here, some of us losing sleep, getting out here, threatened by other people, fighting for immigration status, refugee status, going in, taking flights here and there, driving midnight all over this place, trying to tell them, the people that are here, just create a better atmosphere for them. And we fought. There came a time when, in fact, right after the elections, and they said TPS was discontinued, and Liberians were being put on deportation proceedings, and they had a bunch of young people locked up who had committed crimes, some of them who had committed crime, and they were getting ready to deport. We advocated through the Liberian government to say they were not ready for that. The challenge was enormous with most of those kids coming home, and some of these disadvantaged youth now, as the minister said, were deportees and got to Liberia and never had no family members to be taken care of. And we made the case. And the government kind of listened to us, the United States administration at the time, State Department, say, okay, we're not going to deport them. And that was a big win for us. Some of them have done well. Some of them continued in the line of crime, and they left. But this particular one, to send someone in a country where he knows nobody, and apparently they're talking about his family visiting him, I think 2 or 3 daughters and his wife. And so you're bringing somebody in who doesn't know the terrain, and this guy is being deported because they're deporting criminals. So what is it that he's bringing? What was that deal? That's my concern. And I think, I'm not sure if it's related to this 3 years visa that they're going to give to Liberian coming. So any Liberian that want to come here, they will just give them 3 years visa. Or anyone's going to be denied, or they're just going to open it. Now, that's a floodgate that I think they're opening, and they're going to have an influx of visa application. And that's the challenge they will be facing. And I think I don't know how the foreign ministry is going to try to monitor that as far as the visa applications to the U.S. embassy. Because any individual can go there and ask for a visa. So I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I think we need to look at the details and see what happens. That's my own view on that.
Okay, talking about Trump, anytime you talk about this guy, something can pop up. I just seen flashing news here from France International.
Yeah.
Trump orders immediate resumptions of U.S. nuclear weapons testing. See, you call it Nina, so you know.
I know, right?
Sissy, is there any concern with this whole visa here? What do we need to add? Do we need further questions from our own authority? What is there? What is in there? How we got to this point? It
No.
must sound good. It must sound great. Is there anything we need to know?
We don't need any question. And I think people need to understand the visa categories. You have non-immigrant visas and you have immigrant visas. Within the you have the visiting visas, you have the genius visas and all those other pieces, right? That come. The issue of Liberians staying in the U.S. on TPS and DED, and that were continually extended since 1991, that President Trump, during the bargaining for his border wall money that the Democrats managed to pull through, so that those folks that have been here from a certain time that were on DED will automatically have a pathway to citizenship, got passed during the last Trump administration. That got nothing to do with visiting visa. We still got Liberians still coming here on visiting visa, still coming on tourist, as we call it, visiting visa, as a tourism visa. What this deal has done is not addressing the immigrant visa or people coming to overstay. What this deal has done is, instead of getting the usual 6 months or 1 year visiting visa, you have now a 3-year multiple entry visiting visa. And what that means is, if you have an investment in the US, if you're coming here for something, as a business person, when you come here once, as it is right now, and you go back, you don't know how to plan your business, you don't know how to plan your investment, because you don't know if the next time you go to the US embassy, you'll get a visa or not. What this is multiple entry, 3 years. You get it once, multiple entries. So that is good for business. That's good for the climate of investors and everything. People who come here to negotiate with people, to take them back to Liberia, to be able to come and go, all the other pieces. The process is still the same. You still go to the US embassy. You still apply for a visiting visa. The only thing that has changed is the length and how often you can come within that time frame. That is the only thing that's changed.
Question. Sister, hearing what you're saying, when you come through the airport on the B2 visa, which is the visitor visa, it's left with the discretion of the immigration office to tell you how long you're staying here. I know you say multiple visa. What if a person stays for or beyond the identified time of discretion and don't go back for 3 years? Are they in violation?
The first problem here, the first problem is you adding multiple things together here.
No.
Hold on, you asked a question.
When you got visa to come, they give you a length of time to stay. It doesn't go by the visa, the multiple years.
So let you
the thing is, Mr.
Wait, 1 second. Sister, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because here's the problem here is that even if the point is not that we're arguing or that the government is arguing that somebody gets to come in and live here continuously for 3 years. That's not the point. Even people right now who get a 1-year visa, you don't come here and live here continuously for 1 year, like you rightfully so. But when you pay one visa fee, you have that one visa for 3 years. You come to the airport the first time, they say here for 6 months. You go back. The next time you come in, you don't need to go to the embassy and pay another visa fee. You come right back again once you stay after 3 years. Multiple entries.
My question is, what if they overstay?
But in any case, if you overstay, it's still illegal. Okay. Even if there's a 1 year. So that's the point I made. That's not what that's all. That's right outside the purview of this. We're not here asking for our government to support people to come and violate other people's country laws. They get you 3-year visa, you can't spend more than 3 years, you go to jail. Just like you get 1 year visa, you can't spend more than 1 year, you go to jail. That is not a thing. I see this. Look, Liberians for a long time been complaining that we have not had a chance to negotiate foreign policy regarding visa. I think this is a big step. I think being able to pay one visa fee for 3 years, being able to play your 11 seconds, go to the US and argue for business and talk to business people and they think, can you come back the next 7 months? And you can say, yes, I'll be back in the next 7 months because I have multiple entry in this for 3 years. That gives your would-be investors credibility and say, yeah, we can do business because this guy will be back or this lady will be back. I think that's a big deal for our country and it's a big deal overall for our government. But in any case, anybody overstaying their visa is illegal in the US.
Koto?
Yes, and for this issue, diplomacy actually is not immoral. It is where you go to make decisions on behalf of your country, and in the line of trade, in the line of negotiation. And that's all you do as a diplomat, and speak on behalf of your government and be able to negotiate on behalf of your government. I think, and this is what the minister, in collaboration with her president, I think that's what she did. But like Cesar rightly said, you are not to break the law. When they say 3 years, it is the only thing I know I admire about it is a cost reduction. But it doesn't make you to break the law and say, because they gave me 3 years, I take advantage, I take advantage of it and overuse it. If you overuse it, you're going to be held liable for it. But I see people say there is a cost attached. Well, they always say there is no free gift, but yet we do not know what it is. Because even as they were interviewing the minister today, there are some things as a diplomat you cannot discuss. It can even be to some point that you even have to lie for the government because you are not going to create a chaotic situation at a time where people are anxious. So you will have to leave something, unsaid. So there might be it might be a guess or it could be true. But you don't expect her right now to come and tell you, oh, this is an exchange for what we have gotten. Like diplomatic process, you negotiate on behalf of the government. If it means that you have to go through certain sacrifice just to maintain that relationship, well, that's what they call negotiation. It has to be, hey, I get this, you give me this. And that's how diplomacy, is done.
Okay, there are so many interpretations to this whole thing. Let's pick up some of the tweets coming from our onliners.
That's just they say, and they don't know the real story.
So, and that's what I say, and that's the essence of the question: whether we need more. I think it is time for Sandra Johnson now. That's what, because this is very, very vital. Whether there are some other conditions, everything not going to come out. Whether there are other conditions attached, I think both the Ministry of Information or whatever, maybe someone from the embassy, they need to come out to explain. Okay, this is going to make difference.
What I wanted to add on is this.
One second, please. Let's see what it online says. This is going to make it difficult for Liberians to get visa. The screening process will be more rigorous. They were already giving 1 year multiple entries visa to Liberian. Okay, now this is something good. people not gonna be hurry up. I need to go by in 1 month, in 3 months, is 3 years, but are there other hidden conditions?
You know the mathematician in me? I'm doing a ratio 1 to 3. Ratio and proportion. I did that in school 1 to 3.
1 year to 3 years.
1 year to 3 years, yeah. Yeah, but I'm concerned whether there will be another, there will be some other.
Yeah. So like
what out of 50 people now, then maybe one will get, because one person are coming, one person will get visa for the non deny.
So I wanted to say something, Mr. So, and what our people need to also know. Right now, the opportunity people used to have to say, okay, I make use of this visa thing and come to Liberia or America, rather, get married and be able to get a citizenship. All of those are tightening now. Because you heard Donald Trump saying it, that marital, by, I think, paper by marriage now is not durable for you to be considered a citizen. So those are things, areas that are tightening. They might be giving that opportunity, but then they are tightening on the other side. If I were the diplomat, those were things that I would be discussing also. Because if you're slacking that, then slacking the other side. But again, that's negotiation.
U.S. citizenship by marriage is constitutional. It's not dependent on Donald Trump.
I'm not saying it is not right, but I'm saying Donald Trump is saying they are going to eradicate that. But you heard it, and you know what he says, he will go by it, whether you like it or not. I don't know why they're going to fight it, but I don't know.
Birthright citizenship was why he was attacking. Birthright citizenship, not marriage.
No, he talked about marriage, but marriage also. Okay. Yes. Well, he said where people used to go and marry to get citizenship, they are going to.
You look at the illegal side. You look at the illegal side of it. When you pay somebody to get married, and he can prove it. Not that when you're married to a citizen.
So how you going to prove it? How you know whether the person is not married? Whatever way. Once they are married, they are married.
This is Lpr. We're going to put facts down here. The Constitution of the United States does not give you that authority.
I'm not saying, but that's what he said.
Similarly, does not give the authority or birthright citizenship. That's why several courts have held it down. His birthright citizenship. So what he's saying is, if he can prove that you pay, he can show that, then they can deny, which has always been happening. If they can show that, they already deny that.
And that's why I'm saying I don't know how you're going to do that, because if it is a legal thing, you can't just eradicate it. But again, I don't know.
Hold on.
Okay, guys, we are already gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up.
Real quick.
Please. We gotta go.
A constitutional mandate. As far as the visa and the marriage issue, that's already been practiced. That's what they go through thorough interview with the inspectors. And they can determine whether the marriage is fake or the marriage is not fake, and they will deny you, and you face deportation right away. But the point I wanted to make with this thing is that, when we go from 1 year to 3 years, do you know that before the 1950s, Liberians were allowed to come here without visas? You know why the law went in place? Because Liberia had an open door policy. Everybody from other African nations used to come to Liberia. Because I know this because we did extensive research when we were fighting for the green card for those that were here on TPS, continuously. And what happened is that there were foreigners who used to come to Liberia, marry Liberian women, and become citizens of Liberia, and just take advantage of that opportunity. And the U.S. did not want for Liberia to be a point.
Okay, guys.
And so they decided
to
execute the visa process to screen people. But
guys,
so either way, this visa thing, the government of Liberia need to explain to the people what this means. Just as Sissy was saying, multiple visa means you can come in and out. If you go and stay and you violate it, you stay. You invalidate them.
All right, gentlemen, ladies,
so one last win. Liberia got nominated to serve on the UN Sanction Committee. People who want to hear it, but Sarah Beslo Yanti and Omer Bwaka, make a city when we go where one different can go, you do something big. Bile Bwaka Bile, it died and worried.
All right, we gotta get more of this yet. It just popped up, so as time goes by, we'll see how it looks like uh, to to us. But I want to thank you guys so much for the evening, this beautiful Wednesday evening. 30 second each. What's the most takeaway here? Who said the most tabata here for the night?
Well, my
And I'm,
takeaway
and
is
I'm
about
gonna the four of
my,
you.
my takeaway. You're trying
The
to
minister
imply
is
what
not
you know. You know back in the
the
day.
minister is not there. Are not there. The
You know,
three of
back in the
you.
day, how they people know what they saying, they hand they show you that there's somebody knocking saying, "Not waste my food. I ain't want to do for putting me for. I didn't plow here while we were going." my takeaway.
You don't love my man. You wanna other scientist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw you from far off. I bypass you. My takeaway for today is I watched the Colonel Academy administrator complaining that she was not allowed to host a graduation ceremony because the students did not meet the guidelines set forth by the Ministry of Education.
I know.
My takeaway is a shame. Colonel Academy should not be crying for graduation ceremony. As a matter of fact, she shut it down. They're telling us that none of their students passed math or and science in WIAC. None. Zero. And that's a prestigious school.
Yep.
Their school need to be shut down. Instead of not even the ceremony, they should close it down. That's my only tabata I got to say before I move on here.
Wow.
So that speaks to the question, and I hope we will get the minute because okay, we're blending school, we're doing this, we're doing that, but the policymaker are they providing the logistical support, the textbooks, the trainings, and all of the things that
That's a private school.
Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah, Canada. I know it's a private school, but when you go down to government school, all of these things there, and I know they have about overall. I think that government regulations. I mean, I think a lot needs to be done to improve the system. But again, that's you say that you shut it down. So thank God you're not a minister of education because you sit down here. If you ain't using your own thing, one kind of the much put the woman talking about your problem. If you just because on the way and all of that and the energy, my man, don't count the post they will drag me. Who wants to be dragged? What's the most takeaway?
Well, my most takeaway from the evening is the excellent job you did in that interview, and having the former superintendent, the minister answer some tough questions. And she got away with some stuff, but I think as she promised, whenever you want her to come in, she will come back in. And so I took a lot away from that. It got me thinking more about our country and how we need to continue the process of rebuilding and keep it in our mind. The only thing is that these parties and talking about unity party all the time, I don't know since when it became a partisan issue. As an administration, I know the party went in, but people need to become servers once they won the election and taking the responsibility as public servants and to serve the Liberian people.
All right.
Thank you for a great interview.
Okay, so Carter, what was the most takeaway this Wednesday from tonight conversation from the minister to where we end? You wanted to share Canada down?
Well, we already got education deficit. I won't advocate for that. The only thing I would do is to, if it is anything to be done to rehabilitate or whatever process or punishment they have to induce, let them go about and do that and to shut it down. I would encourage them to train instructors, because that's the major problem. If you don't have trained instructors, you will have such a problem. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. And to the foreign minister, I want to say thanks because it takes a lot of effort to have these things done. We were in a country where we were called kleptocratic, and if today we can be regaining our image, I'm so happy for that because it wasn't an easy thing where our foreign minister then could not even come to America. And today we can see our foreign minister sitting on the table of discussion and advocating on the table of United Nations And also in other areas, I think it's a big plus for her, and I would love to admire her. Let me say admire. I'd like to congratulate her for the efforts that she has been making as a minister. And
Okay,
thank you
guys, I
guys
want
so
to thank
much.
you. I want to thank you so much for you guys jumping in to just extend the night after the conversation with the minister. I want to thank you so much, Moses. The FOIA from Sanction Avenue, now the FOIA correspondent. FOIA correspondent.
The border is peaceful.
Yeah.
The
Well, man,
Lima border is peaceful.
where you know, where do I want to say now?
My man, we're looking for some more bronze straw to put in our bronze. Plenty for that for inside. We're looking for it. We'll tie our bronze tape. I will come back.
The bro is running out of energy. You're on local Z. All right, guys. So thank you so much and have a pleasant week. We'll be back on Friday. All right. Okay, folks, that does it this evening. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your evening. If this is the first time, we say thank you so much. Please, we'll always also like your comments, your tweets, where we need to improve, what we need to do. But I want to give it out to the minister. And I know sometimes people want our people to be combative. That's not, it doesn't get us anywhere. We have to create an avenue where we're going to have our former leaders and even current leaders to be able to ask genuine questions. By according then that I respect that is due, deserve. And so sometimes we have this conversation to get an insight, of how things going on. It's not possible that we agree with everything. There are some people who don't even want to speak, and she, with the courage, even though she's not dead, but to come out to speak, regardless, it is a party to have some real differences or concerns. I think is healthy for the democratic process, for national conversation as well. But I know, but we have a polarized society, a divided home. So there are some people that just don't. So everyone tries to protect his or her own alligator. I want to thank her so much, and I'm looking forward to having more of that. And when the whole thing finishes, there I will have the opportunity to sit or to have a conversation with the former president. That would be huge. It would be remarkable. And the real question will be asked. As a matter of fact, she consented to appear 2 times with the help of the minister, but the phone and sometimes whatever reason, but I believe it's not a fullness of time yet. So twice now I mess it up with something, and so she being a very busy woman too. But I'm hoping and praying one of these days because that's where because talking to Helen Johnson Sirleaf, you gotta put your cap on your hair, put on your thinking cap, and know how to get your questions structured and stuff like that. But we want to find that. By the way, today is a birthday. We say happy birthday to the former president. Our understanding, she's in France, one of powerful ladies, and it's quite true. Her time, I mean, the system was completely broken. So we do have some reality differences in terms of what happened, but she did meet a broken, to fill a collapsed system that really needed a surgical operations. Was everything, all of the surgery were performed? Absolutely not. But it's always remind me of here how we have this organization. If you live today as this community organization, even though it was a approved project or initiated, the conventions or the general assembly, the board approves, guess what? When I come in tomorrow, I kick it out and come with my own. So you find out there are a lot of undone things always out there because we fail to have that continuation for getting to know its institutions, and those institutions must they must have a standard. There are things that maybe previous administrations or the General Assembly agrees on based on from convention. So it is obvious that these things must be completed. So it's the same thing that is happening in government. So I want to thank you so much. Stan, long time. What's up? For a long time we not see. Good to have you back here. We're still waiting. Until then, folks, we want to thank you so much for being part of this program tonight. By God's willing, same time, same station. The liberal progressive, the most ridiculous man on this network. If you don't see him show up on Wednesday like that, it means he packaging his tabata with his, you see the political pastor, Terry Naka, he facing your own sermon. Get ready tomorrow for headache, Tylenol, ibuprofen, Tramadol, anything that will help you get ready to take it, because for sure they're going to come tomorrow with a man, Clarence Davis, who is their outstation manager and who is also drawn into the liberal and his ally Tabata. They're going to be on and they're going to be all over the place here. The train, they're definitely going to derail. I want to thank you so much, and we'll say it. Our big thanks to the former minister, to Madam Juliet Duncan Cassette, former superintendent, former general minister, Republic of Liberia, a Liberian politician. Say she now retired, she inside. We will find out what next for her. But she's in the advocacy business, so that's always, we want to thank you so much. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
It's TV on the beat. When one day no go go, when be quite big. Everything go go. What are you doing? Can you manage? What are you doing? Listen, no. Put back no. Everything. Papi, I am not sure with you. Can I do one? Don't know you. I get you my yard, get my well. The war, get you my yard, get my well, I get you my yard, get my well. That's the way, when you feel that's the way. That's the way, that's the way. That's the way. When I said to it, goodbye, then I said to it. What's up? I don't get you my yard, get my well. Yeah, no, I get you my yard, get my well. Get you my yard, get my well. I walk, get you my yard, get my well.